Hey there, Chem 1030 students. We are getting ready to start week 5. And so as we look here at what's going on in eLearn, I'm going to focus on what you're doing for lecture. So as you pop into your class, you want to go to the content. And first of all, you can always pull up the course schedule. It is up here in your content. And if we scroll down to week 5, we see that in week 5, we can see all the stuff we did or have just finished doing this week. In week 5, we have your on-ground lab, and you are taking a quiz over lecture material during lab on your functional groups that you learned about this past week in Chapter 4. Saturday, all of your lecture material is due. Sunday, all of your lab material is due. Your pre-lab for experiments coming up. And so take a look at that course. And Professor Molish will talk to you a little bit more about your lab stuff. So make sure that you're watching this and as we go along. You also can see all of the material here in your table of contents. I'm going to go back outside. If we scroll down, we're in Module 2 that has 4, 5, and 6, chapters 4, 5, and 6, which correspond to weeks 4 through 8. And if I click in there, you're finishing up week 4. We're starting on week 5. So as I look at week 5, underneath, I see an overview, a lecture section, and a lab section. Pretty typical. Again, you're always going to see these 3 sections. Sometimes we throw in an extra one, so be looking for that. If I go to the overview, this is where you are now. We see a written overview as well as the video, and this is going to be the video that you're watching right now. If I go into the lecture material, there are submodules. The first one is talking about that memorization quiz that you're going to be taking during lab. This is for the functional groups we learned in Chapter 4. And if you click this link, it takes you to that handout. You have to memorize these and be able to recognize them in compounds. So make sure you're reviewing these and looking at the practice problems from your textbook, which give you molecules and asks you to identify these. So if I give you this big structure, you can identify where the halogens are, where the ethers are, where the alcohols are, and you could circle those functional groups and see them. Please post on the discussion board if you've got any questions. All right, if I go back here to the lecture material, again, we've got several, this took us back to Chapter 4, which is where we originally found that handout. So I'm going to go back to week 5. That's where we are now. And again, we were looking at our lecture material. This was linking back to Chapter 4 and that functional group handout. As is typical for every week, you have a pre-lecture assignment that you're to work while you skim the textbook quickly. Once you've skimmed the textbook, you're going to go through the guided lecture notes, the lecture slides, and the lecture videos. Then you're going to do the post-lecture assignment, and then depending on how good you do, you may or may not have to do the adaptive follow-up. I'm going to click, again, we're here in week 5. This is our big module. In the lecture, we already looked at the memorization quiz. Pre-lecture assignment's pretty straightforward. I'm going to click into our guided lecture notes, slides, and videos section. So basically, I am opening up this area here so that I can see that more clearly. There are my lecture notes and slides, and then there is the submodule with the videos. And I can see them all here, and I can just click through them. But if I come back over here on the left, where the lecture material is, there is the submodule where those lecture videos are. If I open it up, it just expands that list so that I can see a brief description. This is a good view once you've finished with everything and you're working on your homework assignments and your studies. If you need to come back and review something from the lecture videos, open it all the way up here so that you can see what the description of each video is. All right. You're also working on lab this week and getting ready to do your lab for week 5. And so don't forget to go ahead and click in there. Again, Professor Molish is going to give you a little bit more information. Some of these videos won't be open for you yet. They won't open until you've turned something in. And so just keep your eye on this area as you work on your lab. I hope that helps.